Okay, welcome everybody. I think we're go ahead and get our Friday coffee started. We've got a full room, and I think we have quite a few folks joining us today by Zoom. I'm Susan from the Chamber, so glad that you're here. Just for those that are Zooming, just kind of our housekeeping. We do have you muted, just so there might not some background noise you might not be aware of that might disturb the meeting. And also, if you have questions, put them in the chat so we make sure and respond to those. And then please don't record any part of this without permission for our presentation. I'm going to start off by thanking our sponsors for today. And why don't I just go ahead and call them up. Beautiful Home Interiors. We have got Tanner and Daryl and Cheryl right here. You can just click through this. Yeah. You do it. No, well, you need to stand by the flag. Like you're going to be.
Okay. So I'm Daryl Reich, Beautiful Home Interior. My son Tanner. I've owned it for 28 years. Tanner's basically born in it. Got him out of bed many nights to come help Dad do things. So he was raising it. So Tanner, do you want to tell him what we do?
Yeah, we focus around anything on the floor, residential and commercial. So your home and or office. We also sell cabinets and countertops. We kind of err towards the design side also. So if you know what you're wanting and you know what you're looking, we're there to help. But if you don't and you come in with deer in the headlights, we're also there. And we do our best to kind of take a very stressful situation with a remodel of a home or an office and make it as easy as possible for the customer.
We have a designer who's been with us 24 years. Her name is Cynthia. She is amazing. So if you don't know what you want, she can walk you through every single step and keep that smile on your face as you're walking through it. If she sees that you're getting stressful, she'll stop it, maybe set up another appointment. With our cabinets, we have our cabinet guy, James Irwin, has a complete CAD system. So if you don't know what you want, he can literally start, and we got a huge TV that we've done, and he can literally walk you right through it. If you don't like that, he can very quickly change it. So you'll know exactly what your kitchen's gonna look like very quickly. And if you don't like it, and if the budget may be a little bit too high or a little bit too low, and you want to do fancier stuff, we can very quickly add and subtract for those things.
Good. Okay, and you have a door prize I think you're going to give away.
You want to pull that out to you?
So this is an umbrella from our
Wonderful sponsor with
Fortified
Roofing, sponsor our golf tournament. I'm actually the director, along with Chris Leichel, for the Chamber Golf Tournament. I thought this year, I've been doing it now 7 years, and I thought this year with our tremendous team, and Chris is also involved in that, Katrina's involved in that, Tim is involved in that. We got a lot of people in here that are involved. Everybody on our team just does a tremendous job. But we have an extra umbrella that was from the golf tournament, so this is going to be our door prize for the day. Is Kirk Lamar.
I'm going to take a photo. I don't take it here, guys. If you don't. Okay. I don't know. Got it. And thank you, guys.
And it's really kind of ironic that we are doing this because she didn't like to talk like this, but my wife and Grant have been friends for 30 plus years. Yeah. She was kind of an airport buff. Our brother-in-law is kind of involved in aviation, so it's kind of weird that we're sponsoring this with Cheryl's family involved in aviation. So
Good. Well, thank you for that sponsorship. Before we go on, I will say anyone could be a sponsor if you'd like. We do have a sponsor each month, and we appreciate that sponsor. You not only get recognition here and in our chamber emails, but Cumulus Media will give you 20 spots on their radio stations. And Rochelle couldn't be here today, but she works with you. And if you would like to sponsor a future Friday Coffee, just let us know. So with that, why don't we go around the room and do introductions before we move on with the program. Kenny, would you like to?
Sure. Kenny Newville.
And you should speak up too. For our Zoom friends, I think they can probably hear me pretty well because I'm so close to the microphone, but just remember that we kind of need to project a little bit more. Go.
Kenny Newville with Newville Consulting.
I'm Natalie Newville with the library.
Aaron Deshay with Potentiality Coaching.
Connie Bond with Kennewood Seats.
Frank Reisig, EB Rotary, and
capital area interfaith alliance.
Ron Fitzwater with the Missouri Pharmacy Association, also represent Ward 4 on Jefferson City.
Haley Wilbur, Senior Assistants.
Christopher Scott with Farmers Insurance, also representing the Old Summit Community Veteran Association.
Deb Bushman, Holland Family Chiropractic.
I'm Chase Bexton with Sanville Business Products.
Roger Griffley, veteran driver at the captain's office. Lieutenant Angie Palooza, rest of the board.
Katrina Tennant, Central Bank, and Greg Silver.
Amy Rogers with Council for Drug Free Youth.
Tiana Alonso, CMFCAA.
Jennifer Winkle, Central Missouri Foster Care and Adoption.
Aaron DeVere, Image Park Marketing and Advertising.
Jen Colvin, Remax Jefferson City. Here.
Eric Powers, Jefferson City Airport.
Jay Seaver, Seaver, CBS.
Reed Millard, Seaver's personal.
Brand Shorthose, Jefferson City Flying Service.
Mars, Sports Magazine.
Cheryl Rhymes, representing Allergy and Asthma Consultants and Beauty Visitors.
Carol Rice, we didn't have the characters.
Tanner Rice.
Sean Chamberstadt.
Great. Okay, this time I want to welcome some of our new members. These are new members since our last Friday coffee that we got together. Action Realty of Jefferson City, Blake Warner. Auburn Ridge Living Center, Carrie Brimmer. And also Brimmer Trucking with Carrie Brimmer as a representative. Capital 8 Theaters, Noah Peters. Click to Sell for You and Kay's Collectible, that's Donna Dietz. Fortress Insurance Services, Johnny Fowler. The Jefferson City JCs, Devin Harris. Midwest Title and Escrow, Anna, yours. Stuart Murphy, Roger Schwartz, and the Lavender Lily Gifts and Decor LLC, Michelle Bernscatter. So I don't know if we have any of those new members in the room here or on Zoom, but we welcome you. Is there anybody that is on Zoom that would like to introduce themselves at this time? Just chime in, unmute yourself, and let us know that you're here.
Mike Parks from the Columbia Airport.
Hold on, we need to turn up our volume, but we will.
Claudia Cook from the library. Hello, good morning.
Second. I knew I should.
I wasn't gonna do that. All right, go ahead and try again, Claudia.
I just wanted to say good morning from the library.
And who did we miss before Claudia? Anybody else want to introduce themselves?
Michael
Darlene.
Wells, Med Bank and Trust. Good morning.
Darlene Simpson with Buzz.
Yeah.
Adrian Heckman with Central Bank.
Darcy Crane, American Cancer Society.
Diane Gillespie with the Jefferson City Convention Visitors Bureau.
Mike Lester, City Council, Ward 2.
Carrie Turgeon, Mayor of the City of Jefferson.
Karen Schaefer-Cutter, Spider Technologies.
Byron Shaw, Miko Engineering.
Anybody else? I'm pausing long enough for people to kind of unmute and be there. Okay, good. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and give some quick announcements before we have our program. Just a reminder about our social media forum, and Natalie and Kenny, would you like to speak to that since you are?
Sure. This month we're talking about utilizing Pinterest as a search engine for your business. A lot of people think that Pinterest is just a social media site or it's just a place where people go to look for bathroom decor, but it's a really great way to drive visitors to your website. So we are going to explore that.
But it does work for bathroom decor as well.
Also, yes.
Good. And that is Thursday, July 15th from 8 until 9 in this room and then on Zoom. And you probably don't have the technical difficulties that we do, but we're glad you're here to help bail us out if we do, so, and everything else. So we really appreciate you guys for helping out with that. And another opportunity for you on July 15th is Chamber Connections. It's always the third Thursday of the month. It's at a different chamber member restaurant and bar. This month it is at Oscar's Backdoor Lounge. Maybe you don't know that the Oscar's Diner has converted the back area of the restaurant to a lounge. I've been there, I've seen it. They have Cardinals games, maybe have a drink before you eat your dinner or just be there. So encourage you to stop by if you have not seen Oscar's Backdoor Lounge, Chamber Connections. The co-sponsor is Jefferson Bank. It's always a great time to network, exchange business cards. So that is July 15th from 4 to 5:30 at Oscar's. Gonna make a quick announcement about the Chamber Gala. If you've been to a Chamber Gala before, that's great because it's a wonderful opportunity for us to recognize our Chamber leaders and our outgoing chairman. We give away awards and we dress up and then we have music. This year, it's gonna be all those things, but a little bit different because the Chamber Gala, because of obviously COVID and social distancing, we made changes to our traditional gala. It is September 10th. It's at Canterbury Hill Winery. It's inside, it's outside, it's more of a cocktail networking style. There'll still be recognition, great entertainment. We really encourage you to participate in this event. I've got a great planning committee that I'm fortunate to be able to work with. Amber and Travis, they're the co-chairs. Kit's on that committee, probably 4 or 5 people in this room are on that gala committee. And we're just looking forward to the opportunity to do this gala a little bit different and still give tribute to our sponsors and our community leaders. So the Chamber Gala will be September 10th. Havana Nights Gala. Bet you've never been to the Havana Nights Gala before, so I hope you don't miss it. Kit, you want to add anything to that? Because you've helped me so much.
It's just gonna be so much fun. The gala is always a very nice evening. It's very enjoyable. It's a chance to dress up for us girls. The guys, they're typically wearing suits all day anyway. They're like, yeah, whatever.
They can wear flip-flops this year, right? I mean,
your maxi dress. You guys can wear your linen shorts and a Hawaiian shirt. You don't have to do that.
My maxi.
That's where the price of admission right there. No, you're just having a ton of fun planning it. The theme is fun. The decor is going to be fun. It's just a really nice change.
In working with Canterbury Hill Winery, they have been great to work with too. So it's a great opportunity to be able to kind of work with another chamber member. So
And it won't be cold when you're in your, like in offices.
it's good. It's good. All right. Jen, do you want to talk about the Leadership Jefferson City? You can come up here if you like, or you
Tell
can.
me what you want.
I think, come on up here, because this is we want to make sure everybody can hear what you've got to say about this. It's quite an event.
So I am Jen Colvin, and I am representing your chamber leadership, Jeff City Class 2020, 2021, maybe just call us the COVID class, I don't know. But anyways, we are getting ready to host what I consider probably the biggest party of the year in Jefferson City. And it's one that you can tell your mom that you're going to because all proceeds benefit some really great organizations. So tickets are going to be $30 in advance, $40 at the gate. We are doing it this year at a new venue at the Riverside Amphitheater. So it's going to be super cool. We've got some pretty dynamite bands lined up. The Dave Miller Band is coming, or Dave Baker Band, sorry, and MK Ultra, which consists of one of the K brothers. So it's going to be pretty awesome, a really good time. We've got over 20 breweries coming to serve their homemade brews that evening, and several food trucks as well. So we really hope that you can come. And if you or your business would also like to consider a sponsorship in this too, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We still have plenty of room for sponsors as well. So,
and the benefits are, I mean, they're on that flyer there.
They are. So we're doing the Alzheimer's Association this year, Common Ground, Boys and Girls Club, and then the Special Learning Center. So all proceeds go to benefit some really tremendous organizations in our community. Any questions?
Thanks,
All right, thank you.
appreciate that. Okay, and now I'm gonna call up Natalie. Are you speaking on this?
Yes.
Come on up.
Hi, everyone. I am here on behalf of the committee that's talking about the sales tax renewal. Ken Hesse and Andre Grinson are also tri-chairs with me on this. For those of you who don't know, that's coming up for a vote on August 3rd. It's the half-cent capital improvement sales tax. It's been going on for 35 years at this point in time, so it's just to continue it. It funds critical infrastructure in our city, so road improvements, sidewalk improvements, street overlays, safety improvements, that kind of thing. It's really key to our city's infrastructure, so without it, we would not have the resources to address these critical needs. For those of you who saw, we just did a ribbon cutting a few weeks ago on a project that was a joint project with the county and city that's funded by the sales tax. So we are just asking everyone to vote yes on August 3rd for that, and if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them to the best of my ability, or I can get the answer for you later, so.
Any questions about it?
Okay, great, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, and with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Sean, because he put together this great program about the airport.
Thank you, Susan. Thanks again for everyone being here this morning, and I have the honor of introducing a couple of gentlemen from our area and just across the river, as we say here in Jefferson City. We have Eric Bowers, the airport manager, and we also have Grant Shorthose, which is the CEO of Jefferson City Flying Service. So thank you, gentlemen, for being here. Eric, if you want to come on up and join me here. The airport, not to steal any thunder, not that I would know how, the airport is obviously an instrumental part of our community, an incentive tool, an economic development tool that I don't think that we really think about. The airport across the river gets flooded from time to time. We all know that. Yeah, it's had its ups and downs, but it provides a great deal of economic development to our community. So we wanted to focus on that today as they have some new improvements there at the airport. And also, I think that there's a lot of things at the airport that folks are just unaware of in the activity that is generated, as we say again, across the river. So what I would like to do is, again, introduce Eric, the airport manager, and let him run through his PowerPoint.
Thank you. All right, so as I said, my name is Eric Bowers. I'm the airport manager at Jefferson City Memorial Airport. A little bit of history about the airport. It was established in 1948. When it was opened, it had 3 runways. Only one of them was paved. The other 2 were grass runways, and the one that was paved was pretty small. But that was normal back then. It actually replaced an airport that was where Turkey Creek Golf Course is now. There was a fairly well-established small airport there that was opened in 1929. From what I've understood, it closed right around the time ours opened, and so it kind of just transferred over. So Jeff City's had an airport for many, many years, one way or another. Currently, we have 2 runways, both paved. The longest is 6,000 feet by 100 wide and can hold, depending on configuration, about 168,000 pounds. So what that actually means, we can handle just about any business jet that would want to come in there, except for maybe the very biggest ones. I mean, we catch 90% of what's out there, probably, if not more, of what's flying around for business purposes and that sort of thing. The other runway, our crosswind runway, is a little smaller. It's meant more for smaller aircraft, something like a turboprops and things like that. It's about as big as you can land on there. Our main runway has a full parallel taxiway. We are tower controlled. What that means for our airport is that it keeps us, we're a safer airport because that parallel taxiway is a safety concern. It helps us manage traffic efficiently and safely. Same with the tower. Also, we do 34,000 operations a year on average on a normal year if we're not underwater, COVID, whatever's going on in the last handful of years. But when we're at our maximum, 34,000 operations, that tower is very important for that. That's a lot of planes flying around in the pattern at the same time at our busier times of day. You know, there'd be 3, 4 in the pattern at any given time. So there are 68 aircraft based at the airport, so that's a pretty decent amount. We're always looking to increase that, of course. So what can we do? We can handle large business jets, as I said, and even really small airline. I want to put an asterisk next to that. We can handle earlier, smaller 737s if they're not their max weight. We can't handle the modern ones. That's just a little bit too big for us. We can also handle C-130s if that gives you an idea of the military side of things. That's about the biggest as far as military cargo that we're going to be able to handle. We do everything that isn't commercial air service. If it's not commercial air service and you can think of it aviation-wise, we basically do it. That's going to include military, cargo, charter, a lot of instruction that he'll get into here in a little bit. Anything you can think of. We are also the home of the Highway Patrol, MoDOT, Department of Conservation. All their main flight departments are housed at the Jefferson City Airport. We also have a Missouri Army National Guard facility that is based on our east side. They do quite a few operations. They have 4 helicopters and 1 fixed-wing aircraft, and they stay pretty busy. And we are the first impression that the flying public gets of Jefferson City, so we take a lot of pride in that. Some stats that we are proud of. We are the 6th busiest airport in Missouri. Every other airport that's busier than us is in Kansas City, St. Louis, or Springfield. There's 2 in each except for Springfield. That makes up the top 5. We're number 6. And that is out of 127 public use airports in the state of Missouri. So we're doing pretty good on that. We are the home of 106 full-time employees and 10 part-time employees, over a dozen entities, actually more than a dozen entities at this point. So a lot of people call that airport their office. The flight school has an average of about 50 students enrolled at any given time. Is that still about right? I collected these numbers about 6 months ago, so maybe on average, 42,000 gallons of fuel goes through that airport a month. So that's pretty significant too. According to a fairly outdated MoDOT study, it came out in 2012, we have an economic impact of $21.85 million per year. At that time, that's the 13th highest in the state. I suspect that that's probably gone up quite a bit because that was 2 things almost 10 years ago. So I'm very excited. I'm hoping that they come out with another study, hopefully in 2022, and our numbers have gone up a little bit, maybe even go up a little bit in the rankings. So we'll see what happens there. So the terminal and its replacement, because the replacement is not a terminal, even if we misspeak that sometimes. The original terminal building that's out there was built in '66. It was destroyed by the flood in '19. In early 2020, that was demolished to make room for what we have replaced it with. The new building is not a terminal, like I said. It's not owned by the city. It's a private building. On one side of it, there's a 100 by 100 private hangar, and on the other side of it, an elevator. You can see in the pictures here soon. There's a restaurant, Jeff City Flying's flight school, my office, and a conference room. It is a private public venture. It's a private building built on city land. So we still own the land that's underneath it. So it's kind of a joint venture. And here's some photos of that building. So there on the left, you'll see that's the hangar. It's a 100 by 100 hangar. And then elevated, I believe, to 11 feet. Is that right? Sound about right? 13. 13? Okay. Yeah, I bet 11 feet would be the 100-year mark. So about 13 feet to the bottom, elevated. You have conference room, there's my office. Through the middle is the flight school, there's the lobby, and the restaurant takes up the far end of the building. And has outdoor seating, which is, if you're an airport person, is a great place to hang out. It's gonna be a great place to eat lunch. It has a great view of the ramp and the runways, and you can see everything that's going on at the airport while sitting there and eating lunch or dinner or whatever it may be. few pictures of the inside. Here's the lobby. When you come out of either the stairs or the elevator, that's what you would see. Conference room. This is Jefferson City Flight Schools. This is their main, what you call that, hangar main area, I guess. Yeah. Main office. There's a few little offices for the instructors off of that, but that's kind of the main area where everyone congregates. And there's a shot of the front with the hangar and again, that outdoor seating, which I'm very excited about. Just ran a picture of the runway because I love pictures of the runway. Every chance I get, I take one straight down the center line. So, and what everyone's probably most excited about is the landing zone. This is going to be a great restaurant. It's a really, really nice setup. Seats 91. Is that what I remember? 91 folks we had a seat. And that's just inside of it.
It's inside.
Yeah, that's just inside.
Probably 25 on the.
Yeah, I think it's about, yeah. A couple other angles there.
And you put the owner's name on there, Bob Drain, right?
Bob Granger.
Yes, it's owned by Bob Granger, yep. And so there, I should have actually taken a picture off the porch, I don't know why I didn't. But anyway, that's a little bit of view of what you're looking at. And then, yeah, upward deck, another shot. So, in the absolute has to happen opening date, we hope, 26th.
Yeah.
We just found that out as we walked in here.
Yeah, finding out this morning from him, he said, barring anything else, the 26th he's gonna open, so.
It's open one more.
He's hoping the 19th, it's in that staffing issue, it's unbelievable that happens, but he's in a staffing issue as well, where he's just trying to get the right people in place. He feels like he's got him now, doing some training and things like that, run the kitchen a few times, and then he's saying by the 26th, he's gonna be open for business.
If you can't never eat Bobby Granger's food, he's fabulous.
His
burger,
burger,
yeah,
Oscars, more or less.
Yeah, and then he was at the golf course in,
Redfield? 30, I want to say 37 years restaurant experience or something. It's a lot. He's got a lot of experience, so it's going to be a great facility.
Before questions start, maybe I'll talk about Jefferson City Flying and.
Sure, absolutely.
And then see if anybody's got questions or. So, I'm Grant Shorthose, and as it says, CEO of Jefferson City Flying Service. We're kind of we're called an FBO, fixed base operator. We're like the full service gas station for the airport. What Eric mentioned is as people come into Jefferson City for the very first time by aviation, we're the ones that park them and meet them and greet them. We're the ones that they come out and see, and we take care of their needs as far as the aviation needs. We sell the fuel for the airport. We sell to the Missouri National Guard, all the state entities and things like that. And so we have the fuel services. We have storage. If you purchase a hangar, you need to store it at the airport. We've got all the storage hangars there as well. We have a maintenance facility. We're able to work on any of the business size jets, citation, Cessna citation models, any of the turboprops down to a single engine little, two-seater Cessna 150. So we have that range. Our maintenance facility is a FAA Part 145 repair station. What that means is we're not just a group of mechanics that work on airplanes. The FAA comes in once a quarter and does a base ops inspection. They might look at tools, they might look at records, they might look at training and things like that. They do a site visit, and they're here once a quarter. We're seeing those folks on site in our building, checking us out, making sure everything's in good shape. We also have avionics that come under that same 145 repair station, and our avionics department sells, Garmin and all the models of what current aviation are wanting to upgrade their airplanes to. And our shop is known well throughout. I wouldn't even just say Missouri, but outlying states will come in and have work done at our shop. And so we take a lot of pride in what Jefferson City Flying's maintenance and avionics facility can do. We do have flight instruction, as Eric mentioned. We have 5 flight instructors. We have 8 airplanes. We can take somebody from having nothing and wanting to just learn to fly. We can get them all the way through their multi-engine commercial rating. We can get them under flight instructor. They would be ready to go find a job in aviation if they wanted to come through Jefferson City Flying Service. It's probably about an $85,000 to $100,000 range when you're starting with your private, getting your instrument rating, working on your commercial rating, get your multi-engine rating, your flight instructor's ratings, and things like that. It'd probably be $85,000 to $100,000. But if you're looking at going to a 4-year university to do something else, that's, you're gonna spend well under what that would cost. Aviation industry is kind of unique in the fact that your salary ranges are from here to here. If you're gonna be a flight instructor, you just want to do that, you're probably gonna make, $35,000, $40,000 being a flight instructor. You do that for a few years, you get on commuter airlines, you're gonna be in that, $75,000 to $100,000 range. But the guys that are retiring from the airlines today are $350,000, $400,000 salaries, and it's almost like you work every day of the year trying to make $40,000. And then as you get to the airline industry and you get up those upper captains, like work 6 days a month and making $400,000 a year. If you want to buy a new truck, you just grab a few more trips per month and you're doing that. And that's the aviation spectrum, is what that is. But Jefferson City Flying Service has been out there since the early 70s. Terry Rackers owned it since 1974 to 2000. I worked for Terry Rackers, and what a great guy in aviation, wonderful pilot, wonderful guy, a wonderful man. And Terry Rackers ran a very good business for a lot of years. And luckily in 2000, my partner and I were able to purchase it from Terry Rackers and his group, and we've just taken on since then.
I would like to say that a lot of the history that I have is due to Terry Rackers.
Yeah,
he was able to collect a lot of information that I was trying to find, and he'd already compiled all of it. So just a little credit where credit's due, all the history of the previous airport and all that.
Yeah, he goes all the way back to where there was actually I don't even know if you call it a runway, but there was over where Unilever is, Tree Ponds, up on that hilltop. There was a runway at one time there prior to that 29 when they moved over there. So, you think about aviation. I mean, Jefferson City's been in aviation a lot of years because of that location there to the Turkey Creek area and now to where we're at now. We're called the Jefferson City Memorial Airport. This goes back to more airport things, but we're Jefferson City Memorial Airport. When you walk into that new building, the administration building, if you will, but we're not calling it a terminal. When you walk into that downstairs foyer where the elevator is, there's a plaque that was put in the Memorial Airport terminal back in, I don't know if it started in '66 with that building, but there's a list of names. And those are local citizens who have given their life serving for our country. And so the Memorial Airport was dedicated to those men and women who have paid it all so we can have our freedoms. And that plaque from the original terminal is in that building. Something we're going to try and get done in the next year or so. We're going to try and put a helicopter out on Airport Road. There's going to be a static display of a Huey helicopter there. It's going to be dedicated the same way kind of to that group of men and women who have paid it all for us. So when you hear the word Memorial Airport, it's not just a name that got tagged onto it. It is, it means something to a lot of people. And I think you just forget some of that history of it. But that's what we do. We're Jefferson City Flying Service. If you've ever been out there on a tour of some type with a group, you've kind of seen most of this. But if you have any questions for Eric about the airport, city employee side on the airport, or me with Jeff City Flying Service, the restaurant is going to be a neat deal. Just real quick, his hours, he's going to be closed on Wednesdays because a lot of Jeff City businesses or restaurants close on Mondays. He's going to be closed on Wednesdays. He's going to be open from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. breakfast and lunch at this time, eventually working towards a dinner time as well. But Bobby Drainer running the landing zone, Jeff City Flying, Eric's office. So that's a nice new building. So any questions at all?
I got one. I've always wondered, we've been fortunate to go to a lot of the FBOs during SEC games, and the tarmacs are full of major jets. Have we ever reached out to those universities to have them use our facility with a beautiful landing pad with that picture in the background versus coming into Columbia, which is relatively boring, and we're only 10 more minutes up the road.
Yeah.
With easier access, and then our hotels are cheaper, easier. Have we reached out possibly?
I know initially when that SEC joining happened and stuff like that, I know Convention and Visitors Bureau did, and there was a time when trying to get some of those aircraft here, it just didn't, not a lot of people, even though you think it's only, 15 more minutes to drive and stuff, we see some overflow from them, but we don't see a great amount of aviation. I know they were reached out to early on, but a lot of the charters, when you talk about those aviations from those schools, they need to go to a 139 airport that has the on-site security, on-site TSA, because they've got to check baggage in and out and things like that. the rest, yeah, the rest.
There's still a lot of citation three.
Oh, yeah, yeah, and we see some of the,
streams.
The policy problem, I think, is what a lot of it comes down to, kind of what he was saying, it's not necessarily a regulation, it's a policy, well, we don't fly into that. When we're doing this, we don't do that, and we've had a couple instances where we work together trying to, I don't want to say talk someone into it, but, you know, kind of, hey, well, what if you did? And unfortunately, they usually set that rule, that line, they say, no, we don't fly in 139 when we're doing this operation.
yeah, but that's a good question, because the SEC does bring a lot of folks in to watch those football games, basketball games, and stuff like that. So, anybody else? Yeah.
Your stats show that you're running about 90 operations a day, 5 operations in and out. What kind of factors control your seasonality? When you're busy, and what kind of things do you see that influence the patterns?
Probably for us, weather's going to dictate. You know, I don't know that we see a necessary season of we're real busy, we're not busy. Weather, meaning daylight hours, so we get to do a lot more flight instruction this time of year than we do in the middle of winter. You get icy days in the middle of winter, so some of that aviation just slows down. Weather would dictate it probably more than anything, but obviously summer with more daylight hours and more better weather, we're able to see busier times then. But your November, December, January, February numbers, you see those numbers come down. Those other 8 months, it starts building back up and ramping up.
Still busy, but not, yeah, I track all of that monthly, and even I have files on daily all the way back to turn of the century in 2000, so. And I would say that there's not a lot of, you can't look at it and go, oh, it's clearly this, but you do see a little bit, like you said, it's a little bit slower during those colder months and just a little busier during the warmer months, but I mean, we stay consistently, I'd say, pretty busy unless the weather's just, you know, terrible weather, and then we'll just have a really quiet day. So.
Who else had something? Kirk?
Want to know what your favorite best soda is? No, I'm just kidding.
That's an old story.
Yes. Tell them a little bit about what you've done out at the Jefferson Flying Services for a remodel there after this.
Yeah, so the flood of 19, it's bad that we've gotten this history and we've learned how to get a little bit better after every flood, but I started there in 1985, right out of high school, so I've been through the flood of 86, the flood of 90, 91 scare, 93, 95, and then just in 2019. And every year we've gotten just a little smarter and a little better. This past time when we flooded in 19, we gutted the entire ground floor of Jefferson City Flying Services main building, and everything got brought back in and was built with cinder block. We rebuilt as flood proof as we could, but it's a cinder block building with epoxy paints, and the floor is a painted floor. We don't have flooring on it. It's a painted floor, and we've just gotten a lot better. But by it, we were also able to say, you know, if we need more space, we need to go out in the hangar. We built some extra shop area, and we expanded our facilities out of the flood of 19. So I don't want to go through another flood, but I will say that the flood of 19 probably advanced Jefferson City Flying Service better than any of the other floods. I mean, we were able to come back. We built ourselves up a little bigger than what we had. We built ourselves up a little more flood-proof, flood-resistant, and so we were able to use the 2019 springboard into some expansion. Did not know that 2020 was going to be such a great year, but that year's behind us as well. So we're running 2021. We're starting to see more numbers. Businesses are more seated business meetings instead of Zoom business meetings. Thank you for the Zoomers that are here today, but we're seeing more seated meetings, and people are flying more. Corporate America is flying back to a fairly stable number. So
May and June's operations number, those numbers are reflecting that too. I mean, you can see a pretty good bump in those, that things are starting to be a little more normal.
I'll just get up and say a few things. So Grant's been a long time friend and his partners, the first guy I met when I came to town. So we're really fortunate. I go into a lot of the FBOs around the United States at this size community, and this by far would be the nicest one ever around the United States. Having the restaurant in there, they got a really nice conference room upstairs, so people can fly in, do their meeting. Maybe they're flying from different places, and you got like ABB or one of the bigger companies that need to have a meeting. They can do it right there, not even have to go back in their building. Nice thing is they have a really good restaurant right there. I see it. Bobby showed the kitchen the other day. It's absolutely like a kitchen you would see in a New York restaurant. It's all the best of the best in there. And also, Eric has a nicer office than the mayor of Jeff City.
It's about this big.
That's not true. But one more thing, on the 18th of September, they're gonna have a really nice event.
Yeah.
I gotta go to the service, but you wanna tell them?
I was actually getting ready, I was gonna have
Okay, you can tell
I'm glad you brought it up.
But Pam Swan's a friend of mine with Veterans United, and the family here at Dunn-Loft for the Gary Sinise Foundation, so Gary may be in that night for this deal, when they're gonna do flies with World War II planes and stuff for veterans and stuff like that. It's gonna be a huge family event. They're gonna have a really nice stage. They're gonna do like the 40s band music, and it's gonna be great, big band. So I gotta get going, but thank you guys for.
And repeat that date again, Eric.
September 18th.
Yeah, it's not really get involved in that, because that's gonna be a really.
Good to know.
It's gonna be a really.
One more time today. It's an all-day event.
I believe so.
11 to 6, I think, or something like that. We got a lot of planning that we're still doing. But I believe it's something like 11 to 6 or so. It's gonna be most of the day.
And there's a potential, we'll have a ribbon cutting too, we talked about that too, an opportunity for some tours in the chamber, would love to come over and cut a ribbon, and give you the opportunity to see, the new building and offices and the restaurant. So I don't think we have that date, but I think we're getting close to that, right, Eric?
Yep, just kind of depends on the restaurant, I think. We're in and going, so.
Susan, do you know much about what meeting is at the airport right now? There's a chamber meeting at the airport right now.
It might be with the economic development organization, that's the usually.
Okay, maybe that's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Missy Bono's got a group, I think, meeting.
Or no, I think it's a prospect account.
Oh, that's what it is.
It's a prospect.
Yeah, so Missy Bono had a prospect.
It's a perfect example.
A perfect fly-in, meet right there, and then they're gonna launch it. So that's kind of a nice time that we're here and they're over there and things like that. So, yeah.
Eric, what's your deal like when you know the rain's coming up, the water's coming up? What happens?
You freak out.
And
You freak out. Go ahead, Eric.
Well, that's the first 3 or 4 days after the forecast comes out, then I calm down. I push out, 400 or 500 emails, it feels like. It's not, it feels like. I update every single time there's a forecast. I have a group, about 133 people that I send emails out to that are all interested parties. And every time there's something like this, that list goes up by about 10 people add their names to it. I push out emails saying just the facts. It's an important part of it for me, is I just state facts. I don't state what they should do. But I say what the forecast is, what we're currently at, things like that. Any information is, I'm usually in contact with National Weather Service. They're usually calling me or I'm calling them back and forth every single forecast. And they're kind of telling me how they got there and the circumstances around it, what's going on upstream, what the forecast looks like, how that's going to influence it, weather, I should say, rain forecast. So yeah, we push out that information, and I'll end up getting a lot of phone calls from people saying, what should I do? And I tell them I don't know. Frankly, I don't know what's going to happen.
Go. I mean,
There isn't one. I wish there was something that clear. The levee protects us to 30.5 feet. So this last time, 2 weeks ago,
31.5 was the first.
31.5 was the initial 40. That's a foot over the levee, so that's trouble. You push that information out there, you get a lot of people running around panicking. But the great thing is, most everyone out there already has a flood plan. Nobody wants to execute a flood plan, but they have a flood plan. So as much as I joke about we're running around panicking, it's really more of a, okay, what do we have here that we would have to move? So the city has stuff that we have to move. Every single business and every state agency on the field has stuff they have to move, and they all have a plan. You have, they can be out. What is it?
We'll probably be out in 8 hours.
Yeah, 6 to 8 hours is the average time for people to get out, and that should be plenty of time. You should really know, okay, the water's coming in long before 8 hours.
And the nice thing about the Missouri River does not react to a flash flood. I mean, the Missouri River just doesn't. It's large enough, length enough that it's not going to react to a flash flood. Weir's Creek, that's a flash flood. You get some of the smaller Morrill River when it floods, and it can come up, out of its banks in a matter of a couple hours. The Missouri River reacts a lot slower than that. However, its volume is much greater than those smaller creeks and rivers and things like that. But when you see that first initial report come out from Weather Service that says it's going to be 31.5, immediately you panic a little bit, but you start also looking at all the river gauges up to Kansas City, St. Joe, Leavenworth, Kansas, and Rulo, Nebraska, Omaha. And you start watching those gauges as well, and you get an idea that they're reacting a lot different than what we're reacting to. And so you can't just scope and say Jeff City's going to go to 31.5. You kind of get an idea. It looked like there wasn't a lot of push beyond it that was going to send a lot of big water our way. So it kind of felt like it was going to come off, and it sure did. 31.5 was day one. By midday, I think they went to like 30.9. Yeah, that's not a great change, but the forecast was 30.9. We're watching how we're rising, and
We're watching for it to go to 32.
yeah.
That's where, if it's coming down, well, it's good for us.
So the trend kept saying a lower forecast. We felt pretty good, and then they finally trended out about 29 feet was where they thought we would go, which we felt really good about because they said 30.5 is where our levee top is. It ended up more about 27.6,
27.5, something like that.
And so we got lucky. We felt good. God blessed us with the rain stopped and it did okay. But we were nervous. And the first thing you do is you start saying, what airplanes do we need to move out of here? And I think about 25 airplanes decided to go ahead and leave. Went to Fulton, Eldon, Columbia, things like that. And
that happens right away too.
That happens right away.
People start going out not wanting.
But if you're gonna be out of town for the weekend and it was happening over the weekend, it's like, I'm gonna move American on Friday and just go out of town and relax instead of we worry about our airplane. And so we got lucky. We didn't flood, but we've been through several of them. It's not fun, but we would have had 3 18-wheeler trailers brought in. And we start kind of isolating what is office needs to go there, and what's a shop area that needs to put this stuff up. We moved a lot of things up. As I mentioned, we were able to expand our business at ground floor, but by doing that, we built some upper elevated things that we can be able to put stuff up there, and we feel like we could move out. I'm gonna give a plug to Jay Seaver in Fork. He said, if you flood, you're welcome to come here. I'm gonna give the same plug to Huber Associates. Huber Associates is our IT company, and they were like, hey, if something happens, you need to move. We'll clear people out. You can move your. We got 8 or 9 key people that needed computers and ready to work. They were like, just come on over and we'll put you up. I don't know if you know if everybody, but not everybody's a flood refugee. So, but
you made me come full boards that day.
Yeah. I know
in
19 here we were flooding and it was bad. So we move out, move all our stuff. Huber's got us set up in an office. We go there that next morning. We have not flooded yet, but we move in that day. We got our computers set up. They did an amazing job. That was also the night of the tornado. And here we are. We're bummed because we had to move out under controlled circumstances. We moved out. Hey, we're in the out, all of our computers set up. And we start watching and bringing wet cardboard boxes and stuff like that. And it's like, what are they doing? So, well, one of our clients got hit by the tornado. It's like, talk about feeling blessed. It's like we might flood, and we were able to move out under controlled circumstances. Now they're moving people that got hit by the tornado, all that same time frame, but Huber does a great job. So.
Any other questions?
This is Mike Lester. I'm just wondering, where do our students come from for flight school, and how do people know about our flight school?
It's flight school something.
Where do the participants from the flight school come from, and how do they know about it?
Okay, so we have a website, jcfs.net. Most, because aviation is a pretty small community of if you want to know about aviation, you go to your local airport, and there's not several in Jeff City, there's one. Then of FBOs, there's not several FBOs at the airport, there's one. So if you're wanting to learn to fly, you pretty much contact us by website, emails off of that, or you just come out and visit with us. And we don't do a lot of advertising. Our flight school stays pretty busy with just the way we create our own business. A lot of word of mouth, a lot of people that want to get into aviation, they just seek us out and they know we're there. Kit, you were going to ask something.
Of your facility and the restaurant, the conference room, the hangars themselves, is any of that available for rent? So I want to have a meeting, regardless of the fact that it may or may not be involving someone that's flown in.
Right. So what would happen there is the conference room that's in that building is kind of a Jeff City Flying and Eric calendar. You can get a hold of Eric, 10 or 12 people, you're gonna fill it. I mean, you could do this and maybe have 20 people in there, but 10 or 12 people size, and things like that. The restaurant has verbally agreed, but they would be able to come down, take orders from people, bring food to your meeting there from the restaurant. So that's an ability that we have. The hangars themselves are really difficult to get. The reason they're difficult to get is because a lot of money and airplanes are sitting in there. And in order to say, yes, you can have your event in the hangar, we got to take airplanes and move them somewhere else. It's a bad weather day or something. We put airplanes outside. We really don't do a lot of hangar renting. That just doesn't happen. But the conference room at the restaurant, I know that Bobby Drainer, if you contact him, an evening event, as long as I don't know the finances of what Bobby does, but as long as your numbers are good and things like that, he would let you host an evening event there and have that go pretty good. So like I said, 90, 91 people in the patio and stuff like that.
Plus the patio.
Plus the patio. Anybody else?
It looks amazing.
It's nice. You ought to leave here and just drive around it or something like that. It's
Yeah,
nice.
speaking of that, anybody that has any groups or anything that would be interested in tours or anything, get a hold of me. I'm sure a lot of people know each other here, so I'm not hard to find. But yeah, I'm happy to do any kind of tours and show people around, and we do a decent amount of that. And I enjoy doing that stuff, so feel free to reach out and.
Sean, were there any questions in the chat? I know you. Or does anybody online have a question before we do member announcements? We have just a few minutes.
Sit down.
Well, while Sean's checking that, does anybody in the room have an announcement they'd like to make about something going on in their business, or? Go ahead.
We're hosting, I think most you know, we do Ancient Blues downtown. We haven't passed this year, we're taking it to the amphitheater. Tickets go on sale today with Phil Vassar. Phil Vassar's country music icon, 10 top 10s, 27 top 40 hits. It's the biggest show that the amphitheater will have had, no question. And they'll go on sale. All the money goes to the rest of the Word Project. 501c3 that we have, the case share of women and little girls with cancer. So we want to have a great time and help little kids with cancer process. Get online.
What's the date? What's the price?
Phil Vassar is 10/22. October 22nd will be the last show of the year out there. And tickets range from the 59 to 39, just depending on where you want to see. They're still good. We check. There's still good seats available. If we sell out, we can help a lot. And the money will go local to take care of our local women and little girls that fight cancer.
Any other announcements? Yes.
Yes, CDFY is having our annual ice cream social on August 2nd. It's going to be at Capitol West Events Center, and it will be from 4 to 7:30. And they'll be serving hot dogs, ice cream, drinks. I believe the price for a ticket is $5. Our youth groups that do the performances, 5th grade, 7th grade, and 9th grade groups will be performing for you. So please come out and support the youth of our community.
August 28th, we have the 3rd annual Redemption Inside the Walls concert. Will be obviously not inside the walls because it's not done yet, but out of the fairgrounds. We have Sharon Shoes, he is our talent this year, and very, very good at Song of the Year of 2017. So we're looking forward to that. And he's also agreed to do a Facebook Live with me on the 2nd of August. So.
Anybody else?
The library is partnering with the Chambers starting in August. The 4th Thursday of every month, we will be doing some kind of training session in here that relates to business. It could be marketing, it could be HR, it could be a whole host of subjects. So it'll be at 8 o'clock in this room on the 4th Thursday of every month. AM. Yes, go ahead.
The 2021-22 Bridge magazine will be getting mailboxes next week, and we'll have also copies going around, so look for those.
Thank you.
September 13th is Cork, Fork, and Brews. It's back for the Boys and Girls Club. So we'd love to see you guys in for that. Details online at their website.
Sean, were there any questions and?
Any questions or announcements for our Zoomers?
Is the mayor still on? Did she want to?
Mayor Turgeon, are you still on?
Okay, all right. Well, at that, one more time, I'd like to thank Eric and Grant for being here today. Sean, thank you for setting this program up. It was a great program, and I think there's a lot of us in this room that are going to take you up on that offer to come tour the airport. Thank you for sending me those photos. They probably don't do justice to what it's really like to be out there. It's a beautiful facility. Congratulations to you and the partnership and collaboration that it took with the private and the city to make that happen. So, not that. Sean, you want to wrap it up?
I would just say thank you to all of our Zoomers, obviously online, and everyone in seat here at the chamber. Thanks for coming in this morning, and have a wonderful weekend. I know it's going to be a little rainy, but
Yeah, and if you click one slide forward, you'll see that next month, August 13th, he went one too far, but it's August 13th at 9 a.m. We're going to have Dr. Mosley present for us on updates at Lincoln University, and that's actually going to be at the Link. So if you haven't had an opportunity to attend a meeting at the Link, that Friday Coffee will be from there. And I think it might be in the, I don't know if it's going to be in the president's suite there. I think so. That second level, if you haven't had a meeting there. So we're looking forward to that, having Dr. Mosley address us about Lincoln University. So, good.
Okay.
All right, have a great Friday.
Have a great Friday.
Nice meeting you.
Good job.
Kenny was just pointing, so I was like.
That's good.
You didn't handle it? 40 miles this morning. We made it 6 o'clock. God, I know we brought the same article back. We won't stop you. That's good.
I do not have to figure this out.
Right, they're really good. Well, Kristen, auditor, she is started by, Shorthose instead of Shorthose, because the issue and the police was, no, yeah, so I'm gonna try that here. Yeah. I think it's like, will she get? Yeah. Yeah, are very different. That's what this last year was talking about her two first, like I was like, oh, there's a sale on Greenwich. And by March, all of the dresses were too short. Oh, we're still low on it. I was like, fine morning, oh, like we're at the end. Yeah. Yeah. And maybe you put in your. Yeah. That's it. But I actually say those things. I like doing That's not how it's attractive. Yes, so yeah, I'm trying to figure out like.
Thanks,
guys.
Thanks for the job. I didn't know you were gonna talk about flood. This brought back memories.
You were there.
I was. Yeah. So I really have to.
And I saw well, it's funny because when I started on business, I know all the every song doesn't have a feeling, and it shocks people because I'm like, I don't know. But I will say I've gotten over that a little bit. So cool. Oh, it is.
I know a lot of these. So that's, only fun. Well, and it's, I would say this whole time, it's still 75, 45, like, supporting rates for, but I'm really excited to show.
Oh, are they gonna open? Okay, I could turn this on, but I know obviously kids and nails, I know, one thing I should know is why that.
I wish we had space. That's okay. I don't know. All I know is
Do you all know She was like, we should do this again, walk around and like, oh, right? And so we started.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have this song playing. I love it. All the 90s country. I live my best life. Oh, I bet.
Like, and the best thing was, some of those songs. No, that's why. You know, the CDs, what is it, the music? Now, I was like, is that?
Well, you guys are pretty
probably. So, good to see you again. So what I've seen, and this happens, by the way, this happens in like even this happens in Google, where if you start firing out emails of that magnitude, what happens is people know, hey, this email was sent to 130 other accounts, 130 employee accounts. We're going to go ahead and move it to spam or move it to promotion. You know, you have to I don't think it's as common, at least I haven't seen it as common with Google Business or Outlook as private servers, because private servers don't know if it's a business or not. And that's, yeah, right. When I say Outlook, I'm talking about like Outlook, like Microsoft server, not just the programming basic, but, and so well, and then that's good. When we get to the point where it's time to switch over, that's when we're probably switching to Google, which again, you won't lose, you shouldn't lose your email address or anything because that's, I know you did. Because the server will be linked to your domain, which is Redstone Board. So, yeah, as a matter of fact, if we did it and you kept DreamHost for whatever it is, we would have to repoint that domain to your. It should be. I wanted to talk to
The
you,
tickets are like officially on sale without the code.
and that's what I wanted to talk to you.
At 10, that's what I
I didn't know what we wanted to do. Do we want to do a blur, or do you want to go ahead and do a live? We're gonna use that today, or what? I just think that I wanted to be like,
Certain
I mean, I don't know what's going on in the FBA right now. We can go do it.
really have a show.
Yeah.
Do you want to do this, right? Thank God.
It'd be interesting.
What's the capacity? That might be the lowest capacity so far.
I'll tell you, we agreed to that. Yeah.
How much are these? It was like $69.
Well, and the reason. The reason why we bought the expense ticket for that one was because we've been told we don't have like the big screens. And with the kids, I was like, there's no way they're gonna be able to see the puppets. And like, I'm trying to entertain all these kids, there's a bunch of Catherine's classmates and moms were all saying, but it hasn't had to go. We must love doing it.
What are you doing in the lunch hour? Are you move there? Well, I was only asking because I didn't know if you wanted a free meal, you come to Rotary, make the announcements, but it's at noon. It's a walk around. Some stuff. I mean, if you want to, it's up to you guys. That way you come out, you visit, but you get to, hey, tickets are live, you can answer all the questions. It won't be long, we have another presentation, but my point is.
That would be great, because I think at this point it's like. Just 3 months now, so I don't know
Yeah.
about it, but it's really nice to have.
Yeah.
The lower section, so.
Yeah.
Well, and talk about those corporate sponsorships today. I'm not saying you're gonna get anything, but I can't tell you because I've been like, this is what we're gonna do. Ryan Johnson will be like, I'll buy one, and then like 3 other people will be like, yeah, and then Johnson, yeah, you know, I mean, not necessarily for your event, Are you kidding me?
Stop it.
Yeah. Yeah. Brian's a great guy.
Just walk to say. I got a friend that said.
As he's doing.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Yeah, it was
A mess.
We were. How I didn't get it.
That's awesome. Well, I guess what we could do is, if you want to, if you can make it out to the show after Rotary, we just go out in the parking lot. We can just do a lot.
Sure.
Yeah, and then, yeah, I will tell you, and I don't know if you noticed this, and if you haven't, go ahead and take a look at the insights on the page. But you'll notice when we post about Angie's concert on Red Summer Fair, there's much engagement. And so I'm not posting like future blogs. It's that's what I'm saying more today. Back in February, if you look at the trends, we lost. Because we were posting about the events. We needed to do that to a degree. But we're gonna need to figure out when we get these events in place and we're posting a lot more about them. We're just gonna have to be hitting harder with other content so that people aren't like, damn, posters about this. And so what we need to do is we just need to do it's typical.
I think we would have a Latino film master or something. This is HFC, come to see it. That would be big.
And Aaron and I are working very much.
Oh, yeah, they've already got a radio that we can push out here and listen to the short house. And then they're gonna do, tickets.
That's every time, so we listen to Cat Country, they're talking about it all the time.
Good.
Aaron, I'm telling you, I don't know Matt as much, but he's never been bad to me, he's always been a great guy. But like Aaron is good. And she wants the thing to work, it doesn't, it's like, if you talk to Mike, I don't care about your answer, I'm good at this.
When we were, and I was trash talking, so I was fixing, I was trash talking. Matt, the chimneys are pretty mad. So, and he take a pitch and go, it's a hitter's game, brother. You gotta hit this from the back. I know, and you go back.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how he was thinking, because he kind of looked at me like.
So we've got one for you if you want to razz him a little bit. Just walk up to him and be like, hey guys, I just want to thank you again for all the work you're doing for Phil Bassar.
Who said that?
Well,
I'll lose credit. The Facebook rejection.
Well, it's funny, so like, the one I.
Dude, you gotta know your artist.
Well, I don't already joke because it was about Barbara Streisand one time, they called her like Streisand or something, like it was different.
Streisand.
And so.
Well, she's obscure.
Well, as soon as it happened.
I call it worse.
I told Derek, and I was like, Darren. Phil Bassar. Yeah. I was like, unless everyone else I know is saying it wrong. And she was like, oh my God. She's like, oh, talk to him. And then she texted me like 10 minutes later, she's like, Matt heard it too. She was like, he called him. I was like, you can't say the last name wrong.
So there you go. So next time, I really appreciate your work with us and Phil Bassar.
Bizarre. It was so amazing.
All right, well, I'm gonna get ready for Rotary, but
I may make it there if I do school.
if not, and you still want to do the live, just hit me up with a text and I can meet you.
We're heading for second graders spending the night at our house tonight.
And so that's what was that.
And I'm not drinking until after my 100-mile ride on top of the set.
That's such a cute idea.
I know.
That's not.
She told me, she goes, I already told you special event exemptions. I was like, she goes, so like Saturday, because we're having people over for birthday. And I was like, okay, I was like, actually, I think I might move it forward to Friday night. I think that's when I'm gonna need it.
I think so.
So, see you guys.
You got that. Yeah, we fixed everything. Yeah. No, just go along. Oh, that's good.
I'm blessed beyond the way what I.
Yeah, we are too, and just a couple things I'd like to change. Yeah, there you go. Good to see you, kid.
Awesome, thank you guys for being here.